You might be down anyway.
It is.
Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah, we're like finishing.
What is our finding going to be?
It is writing up your own policy that you've had experience with. So it could have been like a 2021 coronavirus policy. Could be something about forced vaccinations policy, about wearing masks, and then your experience and then thoughts about it. So any policy, it could be food policy, and then just try to pull some articles online or like stuff.
Do we have to put like the social work part in this one too?
Ideally, maybe it's that like how you're serving the elderly community by wearing a mask, and then there might be some articles saying it actually doesn't help to wear a mask. So you can get both sides of it and argue both sides, which would be fine with me. Like there are some articles that say, unless if we wash them every day, they're dirty, or if you breathe too much carbon monoxide, you got to get fresh oxygen. So there's some good stuff in there.
What's the page?
It's just, so it would be APA, so like with the title page and references 5, but it's just 3 or 4 of writing, if that makes sense.
It does.
And then you can deposit that in Schoology, but right now Schoology's down. Isn't that how it always happens? How are your other classes going?
Good. Yeah. Good.
So far, so good, but
So far. It's the only one I'm really, I gotta just turn an essay in.
oh, the final one?
No, the other one.
Oh, okay, right. Like the 2 big papers, which I know was a big part of the class. And crap. She said the baby threw up. I'm gonna see what. But she thinks the baby just ate too many noodles. That's what she's like just now eating food. She just started eating noodles and like she does a bottle every day. So she's only like 11 months. Well, she's 10 now. When our second baby is born next month, she'll be 11 months. So we'll have 2 kids under the age of 1. They're going to be insane. And they're all day, every day. What is the agricultural stuff they're doing? Can you like do a garden anywhere this summer or like do stuff outdoors?
I don't think so. I think next year.
I might do a urban or a community garden we have. I'm going to try to start one out here that we can grow food for like the students and a food pantry, hopefully.
My acre here, they did that.
He grew it in the grade school, you said, or in the.
At Hughes High School.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, who did that? Because I feel like I know the guy that was in charge of it.
A lady, her name was Miss Conrad.
Okay, did they actually grow some good stuff? Huh.
But they didn't keep up with.
Yeah, I know. That's the hard part because if you're a teacher and you go home for the summer, you're nowhere near the garden.
I think they stopped keeping up with like the second or third year.
Right. Usually they do it and you get a big like stipend for like making the garden, but then it is hard work, so a lot of people give up on it. Luckily, I only had 2 short videos now that it is 2:29 and 30 seconds. One was on the food shortages that are coming, and the other one is like the food stamp policies. So food stamp changes, as that's like the policy. But first, here is food shortages we could see. Just with coronavirus policy and the shipping issues we've had and all of that. And then I'll entertain any questions you guys have for your papers or finals, and we can be done. Oh jeez, I hate when it's too loud. I thought we were done with
Grocery shopping
food
has
shortage.
been very different in 2020. Besides mask and social distancing requirements, grocery stores have seen shortages of a whole lot of shelf staples. Not just toilet paper, but food too. It looks like we may see shortages of these food items continuing into 2021. If you assume beer shortages are because sales have skyrocketed during the pandemic, you're only half right. Alcohol sales in the United States have indeed gone up significantly in 2020, but breweries in large part have continued to make beer. So what's the problem? It's aluminum cans.
He hates these cans! Stay away from the cans!
Since bars and restaurants have been closed for a significant part of the year, most of the beer that would have been put in kegs and delivered to the business is instead being put in bottles and cans to be sold at retail. This has created a demand for aluminum cans that has outpaced the supply. So larger beer manufacturers such as Molson Coors and Brooklyn Brewery have been forced to cut back on their offerings and stick to selling only their most popular beers. Small craft breweries are hurting even more. With no one visiting their tasting rooms, they have been selling more beer in cans for people to drink at home. But finding those cans has been a problem. Brett Trump, CFO of Freewheel Brewing Company in Pennsylvania, told Newsweek the Bud Houses, Miller Coors have just bought them all. We can't compete with them, obviously. Rob Leitner, owner of East Brother Beer in California, added, "We've experienced multiple instances of delays, shortages, changes in agreed upon terms. It's a nightmare." Soda companies are facing the same aluminum can problem as beer brewers. But there's another component to the soda slingers' troubles, a lack of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is the gas that gives soda its fizz. It's a byproduct of the production of ethanol, which is used in gasoline. So when people across the country abruptly stopped driving as much, fuel demands plummeted and ethanol plants cut production. According to the Daily Mail, 34 out of the 45 U.S. ethanol plants that sell carbon dioxide had either cut production or idled completely during the coronavirus lockdown in the spring of 2020. As of the fall, carbon dioxide supply was still tight. One expert said he believes shortages will continue for the rest of the year, driven by ethanol issues. Until COVID-19 is under control, it is hard to see things returning to normal, considering our current carbon dioxide supply portfolio domestically. With such a tight supply, soda manufacturers will likely have to stick to their tried and true products. So while you can still buy a Pepsi, you'll have a hard time finding Pepsi Zero Sugar Wild Cherry.
Tell me what I need to know.
So yeah, there's a lot of different policies that affected the way we live. You guys get to see them every day with mask mandate, the vaccine stuff that's come up recently. A lot of good stuff for the papers.
Shelf-stable items were the items of choice when people began hoarding food to get them through isolation. Naturally, canned soup was popular, and soup makers are still trying to ramp up production. According to Market Screener, General Mills, the maker of Progresso soup, still hadn't caught up as of September, even after increasing its production capacity and hiring new outsourcing partners. Campbell's Soup Company's inventory was likewise only about halfway recovered. Soup makers are coming up against another problem, the weather. In the colder months, more and more people will be shopping for soup, creating an even more limited inventory. Campbell's CEO Mark Klaus said his team is working hard to fully catch up to the demand for soup by January. So it's clear this problem will last into 2021. The real question is, how far into the year? Until then, you'll find some soup on the shelf, but it may not be the flavor you're looking for. Stocks of all kinds of foods were depleted from the onslaught of grocery sales when the pandemic hit, but canned corn was hit particularly hard. The trouble with canned corn is the variety of corn typically used for it, sweet corn. Sweet corn is harvested just once per year, in the summer. And in the spring of 2020, canned corn sales went up 47.6%.
Corn. Haven't had that in a while. Yeah, delicious corn.
At that point, big food manufacturers urged farmers to grow more corn, but the corn growers had already made their harvesting plans. There's also the issue of getting the canned goods to the store. Many trucking companies have cut back on their fleets, meaning there are fewer trucks to haul food. In short, there won't be an increase in production coming anytime soon. So if the pandemic lags on and consumers continue to stockpile non-perishable food, canned corn may be a difficult item to find for the foreseeable future. In quarantine, everyone and their grandma seemingly decided to pass the time baking. This resulted in a rush of sales of baking ingredients, particularly yeast, which saw a 258.5% sales increase. While other ingredients were able to bounce back fairly quickly, yeast took longer because it's actually alive. It needs time for its cells to continue to double, and the worst may be yet to come. Peak demand for yeast typically comes at the end of the year during the holiday season. People who weren't baking banana bread in the spring may be baking yeasted fruitcakes in the winter. A December run on baking products anywhere close to what we saw in spring 2020 could mean the next shortage may last well into 2021.
There was recent news also about the vaccine. I don't know if you guys saw the Johnson & Johnson one. I think they're stopping that one just because of a blood clot. So don't take that one if you're getting the vaccine.
Another baking staple, flour, suffered shortages throughout 2020. The situation was the result of unprecedented demand, said Christopher Clark, Vice President of Communications and Administration for the North American Millers Association. With another surge of coronavirus cases, consumers are returning to their early pandemic shopping behaviors. They're stocking up, particularly on items they fear will be gone soon. So even if flour is back on the shelves now, it may not be soon. Chris Menser, the Director of Operations for Rastelli Market Fresh in New Jersey, told Today, to compound the shortages, the customers that weren't buying before are now buying extra. So the shortages are starting to impact stock levels. Yeast and flour continue to be in high demand since they were virtually impossible to get in March and April. The expected flour demand could continue as the calendar flips to 2021. With not much else to do in 2020, people who had never planted so much as a single flower found themselves in the soil, planting seeds in hopes of a fruit and vegetable bounty. It helped pass the time and provided food during a time of great food insecurity. But gardening got so popular that it resulted in a seed shortage, which is expected to continue in 2021. If you rely on your garden to put food on your plate, there are several seed-saving tips you should follow going into the new year. The first is to save the seeds from this year's crop. Once you have the seeds from the produce, store them in a cool, dark place or in the freezer where they can last for years. You can also swap seeds with other growers at events and online. The meat industry suffered a major setback in the spring and summer when some of the largest meat processing plants reported coronavirus outbreaks. This forced them to temporarily shut down or scale back production significantly. In April, John Tyson, chairman of Tyson Foods, the country's largest meat processor, took out a newspaper ad that read in part, "There will be limited supply of our products available in grocery stores until we are able to reopen our facilities that are currently closed." Plants reopened, but in a limited capacity. Normally, plant employees work in close quarters, even shoulder to shoulder. New protocols like glass dividers and social distancing limit the number of people that can work at one time, so facilities can't process meat as quickly as they could before. And with a surge in coronavirus cases in 2020's last quarter, the meat industry is again suffering. In November, a meat plant in New Mexico was ordered to shut down for 2 weeks.
So the seeds one was real as we were trying to get food for the garden we're growing for our food pantry at St. Leo's, and it's hard to find certain seeds. So if you grow stuff, definitely start getting your seeds now while you can.
Spam rode a high over the summer. As more and more people continue to cook at home, sales of the canned meat soared. According to Bloomberg, sales jumped more than 70% in the 15-week period ending in June.
Spam and raisins, all right.
I love tomato raisins. Can I have it?
I guess.
But there's a flip side to every coin. This surge in demand coincided with coronavirus outbreaks that afflicted many of the major meat processing plants in the United States, most of which had to close entirely or cut back on operations. Months later, Hormel, Spam's parent company, announced it would have a difficult time meeting this high demand in the near future. Hormel cited supply chain, staffing, and production problems as the primary culprits. The company has been forced to reduce the number of employees working at one time, which in turn reduces the amount of Spam that can be made. As long as COVID-19 is still a factor, production will continue to be limited. Whether cookies or chips, sweet or salty, certain varieties of well-known snack brands won't be on the shelves as 2021 rolls in. In the pandemic pinch, snack companies have chosen to focus their efforts on their best-selling products. Mondelez International, maker of Oreos, announced it would be producing more original Oreos rather than its various other Oreo flavors. Pepperidge Farm did the same and limited production of its Geneva cookie. Many potato chip flavors were likewise put on hold or downright discontinued. Among the lost flavors are Lay's lightly salted potato chips, Tostitos baked scoops, and Fritos Scoops spicy jalapeno. And don't hold out hope if you're looking for Lay's classic multi-pack and Tostitos black bean and garlic. Snack food manufacturers cite the need to maximize overall output due to high product demands caused by the pandemic. So expect to see these shortages in 2021 until the coronavirus is in our collective rearview mirror. Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more mashed videos about the food industry are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube.
So yeah, there's, as you can see, a few shortages. I don't know if you guys had anything you like buying on a regular basis go away or get expensive.
What is it?
Have you had anything that you like to eat or buy get more expensive or just disappear like they were talking about? Because of COVID, like, I know you guys have noticed the gas prices if you drive. You notice those going up?
I don't really be paying attention to it, right?
That's good. It's
Cause they go up and then go down, go up and go down.
that's true, yeah. But I remember last year they were like $1.25, I think. And then we would buy it with our Kroger fuel points. So my dad and I got 35 gallons at 25 cents each gallon, which was kind of crazy because it was like $8 for 25 gallons of gas. So here's the other policy one, more from your first paper about food stamp policies. And this was some of the changes they're doing because of COVID again this year. So
Experience matters. For over 145 years, more families trust ADT.
Food stamps changes are coming in 2021, and in this video, we're going to walk you through 10 things you need to know about food stamps as we enter the new year. I'm Nicole from Low Income Relief, where we help millions of people save money and get free stuff. Check out our website to learn how you can get 500 freebies and deals with an EBT card. 2020 brought several changes to the food stamps program, and many of those changes are expected to. There's been a maximum benefit increase. In 2021, households will see a 5.3 increase in the maximum allotment for food stamps. In 2020, a household of 4 had a maximum possible benefit of $646. Now it's $680. It's not a ton more, but it definitely helps. In addition, the newly signed Coronavirus Relief Package allocated $13 billion for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, which is the formal name for food stamps. According to CNBC, food stamps benefits will be boosted by 15% per month starting on January 1 and ending in June 2021. This is about $25 more per person per month on average, according to Lisa Davis of the No Kid Hungry. Under the new stimulus bill, the extra federal unemployment benefits will not count towards your income when you apply for food stamps. This means that more people will qualify. College students and other adults will also have an easier time qualifying for benefits because the previous work requirements have been temporarily suspended. Also, every year the income limits are adjusted to accommodate the cost of living. If you have previously been denied food stamps because your income was above the limit, you will want to check out these new limits and new rules to see if you qualify. Pandemic EBT, which has been a lifesaver for many households throughout 2020, has been expanded. The USDA has information for the 2020-2021 school year on its website and specifically stated in a memo, the Continuing Appropriations Act 2021 and other extensions act extends PEBT through the end of September 2021. That means that PEBT is now available for the entire school year. That memo also indicated that the act has modified PEBT to include certain children in childcare and eligible children in Puerto Rico, American Samoa, and the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. Information on this program varies by state and region, so it's important to check with your local school and state agency. For example, Illinois will be distributing PEBT quarterly for eligible households, but the program is managed by each school, and each school can choose whether or not to opt in to the PEBT program. If you are eligible October through December 2020. The estimated date for your first issuance is January 31st, 2021. In Massachusetts, where more than 500,000 students are eligible for PEBT, families have already started receiving funds to cover the meals in October and November. It is important to check with your child's school for more information about the status of PEBT in your area. There has also been a decrease in deductions. Along with this, there have been increases in the amount of deductions as well. This increase may mean that you will receive more food stamps than you did before. The New York State Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance reported that the federal government has changed the deductions as follows. The standard deduction has increased by
Oops.
$3. The maximum excess shelter deduction has increased by $17. The SNAP maximum homeless shelter deduction has increased by $4.68. For more information on why these deductions are important, please see our video on how to get more food stamps. In 2020, the online purchasing pilot, which was previously restricted to just a few states, expanded dramatically. It is now available in 47 states. More than 90% of households that rely on food stamps now have access to online grocery ordering. Of course, there are some state-specific announcements as well. Louisiana is changing their payment schedule. Because so many people shop the day they receive their food stamps, grocery stores stock more food and staff more people on those days. To alleviate the strain on their retailers, Louisiana will be stretching their food stamps disbursement schedule. Instead of sending benefits out on the 1st and 14th, they will now send payments between the 1st and 23rd of every month. Missouri has temporarily suspended food stamps for certification requirements through June in an effort to make it easier for people to keep their food stamps during this critical time. Jennifer Tidball, acting director of the Missouri Department of Social Services, said that the lengthy interview calls have been a challenge for participants and staff due to how many people are now relying on food stamps. Interviews are still required for new food stamps users. In Virginia, Stafford County households who receive food stamps will receive $100 in restaurant vouchers that can be used at locally owned restaurants. This one-time program is designed to alleviate hunger and help support these small businesses that are struggling through the pandemic. Thank you for watching this list of 10 things you need to know about food stamps in 2021. Please keep an eye out for our follow-up videos with other food stamps announcements and subscribe to our channel for more ways that you can save money and get free stuff.
All right. So, did you guys fill out your form to get your money from the university? When do they disperse that? Is
It's
that
May 3rd.
so? Like, they're going to print the check May 3rd, or it's going to?
The direct deposit.
Oh, okay. So it'll deposit into your account, like right on, and they'll say wait 2 to 5 days till it deposits. Okay, that's good. Well, as you can tell, a lot of food policy stuff has come up, and even the old Dr. Ron Paul has a big video on the food inflation and food challenges. I'm going to hold off on that one as I want you guys to have time to watch the longer video that we watched in class last week, because YouTube took my stream down. Actually, they said it was a copyrighted movie. So yeah. So now I'm on my Miami University YouTube, and I also put the link up for the video. Because the movie was owned by a certain person, and the movie we were showing. What's that? That's what they said. Yeah, they said we were bootlegging them. So they took the stream down and they turned off my YouTube, but I opened up my Miami University YouTube account, and that's what I'm using now. But the link so you guys can watch White Oleander for the next discussion is in the updates. And for today, that's all I got, unless you guys had any questions about stuff. No? Well, enjoy the day. It's getting cold tonight.